Okay, so we're gonna do the eyeball, and we have the eyeball measurement here. If you were to look at it, the diameter of an eyeball is from 21 to 27 mm. If you were to average it out, it is gonna be 24 mm. And if you were to go into the iris measurement, it is gonna say 11 to 13 mm. Again, the average is 12, which means the iris is basically half of the eyeball, and this is the measurement that we are gonna be using to create our own eyeball. Now, what I'm gonna do, I am gonna obviously add a sphere because that's basically the shape of an eyeball. So after adding the sphere, I am gonna put the segments to 8, and the rings are also gonna be 8. I am just gonna do the rings to 8. Okay, just type it. Okay, no, not 10. Yes. Okay, so 8. Now what I'm gonna do, I am just gonna select these edges, like after, what do you even call it, like these edges, just I've selected. And then if you were to subdivide it, you're gonna see that we don't really have any sort of weird geometry, and we have a proper nice looking geometry on top. And if you were to compare it with the bottom part, you can see that we have this pole which is not looking that cool. So this is the reason that we are using an 8 by 8 sphere. Now you can see that it basically is not an sphere anymore, it is an oval. And we're gonna have to shrink wrap it to an sphere, so I am gonna add another sphere. But yes, I am gonna readjust it and scale it on the x and y axis to basically convert to a sphere. And now I'm just gonna add a shrink wrap modifier. So after applying it, obviously, after applying it, I am gonna just do that. And as you can see, we have our sphere back, which is what we wanted. Now if you were to, okay, let's actually see what I do, because I don't. Okay, so I want to make the iris now, and the iris is going to be half of the eyeball. The drawing is not that good, so please ignore that. I'm not, I was actually using mouse at this point, so yeah, not really using pen tab right now. So we're gonna have to create an iris now, which is gonna be half the size of our eyeball. Remember that. This is actually super important. So I am just gonna duplicate it, and I am gonna scale it half, scale by zero point 0.5, so it's gonna be half the size of the original. Now if you were to scale it on the z-axis, and if you were to put it at this place, you're gonna see that it is not half, it is less than half. And let me show you the reason. If it were truly half, then like I am, it would have been here, right? Because this is the half point, not the point where we have it intersected right now. The intersection that we have over here is not half, it is less than half. So we need to make sure that we basically get the half first, and this cube is gonna give us the half part. And yeah, that's how big the pupil is supposed to be. And I was actually saying iris before. Yeah, not iris, but the pupil. The iris is gonna go inside the pupil. So this is basically the shape that we have for our pupil. Now we basically need to create an eyeball out of it. Now I have joined them, and the reason is pretty simple. I am gonna take my original geometry, which is this one, and now I am gonna try and shrink wrap it on top of the new geometry. But before I do that, as you can see, I have scaled down the part, and the reason is pretty simple. I basically want the edge to be at the joining part, so that if I were to subdivide it, like let me just subdivide it, which I am gonna do pretty quickly now. But before I do that, I have beveled it. By the way, you are gonna get this eyeball, so you don't really need to model it on your own. That's okay. I am just gonna give this to you, so you don't have to, spend time creating another eyeball. And yeah, basically, I'm just trying to make sure that the transition actually looks pretty smooth between the pupil and the eyeball, and it actually is looking okay, I think. The poles are at the corners, like you can see the poles that are not at the center. And you're gonna see in the render that you cannot even spot those in the render. So this is the reason we've done this. We could have just not done it, but then the poles would have been in the center, and no one really wants that. Now what we wanna do? Let's see. Actually, I have no idea what I'm gonna do next, but I've explained you the process actually, right? Oh, I've applied the. Okay, I have applied the, what do you call it, the subdivision surface modifier, and okay, I am gonna create the iris out of it, and you're gonna see how. So basically you select these edge loops and then you duplicate it, and now you basically just separate them. Now what you want to do, you basically want to shrink down a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, not too much, just a little bit. And as you can see, the distance between the iris that we are going to make and the eyeball. Now if I were to just start doing, okay, now you basically want to create a face in between, so you can either press F, which I think is what I'm gonna do, or you can extrude and then scale it on the Z axis to do this. And yeah, okay, okay, obviously you're gonna have to add the edge loops so that there would be details to sculpt on. We are gonna be sculpting the iris, by the way, and make sure that you have enough subdivision, like enough loops, that there would be enough resolution in the end to sculpt all the details of the iris. And after that, if I were to do it, I don't know why I'm not. I don't know why. Oh wait, I am okay. I am. This is actually so lucky that I've added the edge loops, and Blender was able to unsubdivide the geometry. If it is not working for you, then I'm really sorry. And yeah, you don't really need to focus too much on this area, by the way. I've just increased the edge loops. I didn't really had to do it, now that I'm thinking about it, but yes, if you want to, you can do it. And you don't really need to add these edge loops that I'm adding as well, but yes, I have added those. And that's basically gonna be the iris, which we are gonna sculpt later, not right now. The only reason that we are making the eyeball is so that we can actually put something into our model and it would look decent enough. So that's basically the reason we are creating the iris, for um, not for sculpting right now or anything else. Just wanted to put the eyeball into the socket so that it would be easier for us to sculpt our model now. And as you can see, I've smoothed out this area. You don't really have to do it again. This is not the part that you're gonna be seeing, but I've done it. And yeah, this is gonna be the eyeball basically. The modeling is done. That's how the model is gonna look like. And now we are just going to copy it and put that into our main file. I think we are going to copy it. I don't really remember what I'm gonna do next. We'll see. We'll see. I am kind of rotating around. I don't really have to. I can just, okay. Oh, I'm naming it. Yes, naming is super important. You have to name everything. I think I'm gonna parent it out. Iris is gonna be the child of the eyeball, if I'm not wrong. Okay, maybe I have not parented out in this video, but I am gonna do that in future, and you should do it too. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that, and we're gonna put that into the model and continue sculpting.